the studio, the small, sturdy figure of Ruggero Cini introduced me to the orchestra, and I saw the friendly face of Peter Collinson up in the control room. He waved, and Stuart went to join him. "Would you like to try the piano, John?" Ruggero asked me. It was a Steinway grand, and as I sat down, the musicians began studying the manuscripts in front of them. "You begin solo, John," Ruggero told me, "and we come in on the second verse." He pointed at the manuscript he'd placed in front of me. It had been some years since I'd read a piece of music, but I pretended to know what he was talking about. When he'd walked off, I surreptitiously got my lyrics out of my pocket and put them over the manuscript. "Shall we try a run-through?" Ruggero said to his musicians, then smiled over at me. "Sing it too, John. But this will only be a guide vocal for the musicians at this stage, so don't worry about singing it very well." I played it through, loving the sound of the orchestra as it came in, and aware of Ruggero conducting everything from his rostrum very gently and unobtrusively. At the end, he gave me the thumbs up, and after a few quiet instructions in Italian to one or two of the musicians, said into his mic, "We'll do a take." I was aware of Stuart's face watching me from the control room, looking slightly anxious but smiling through it in case I saw him. Peter, on the other hand, looked to be in his own private heaven. My voice felt very tight, but it was only 10 o'clock in the morning, and the song was extremely rangy, as were most of my songs in those days. I used to write in ridiculously high keys back then, encouraged to do so by Stuart, who loved it when I soared, as he called it. I privately wished I'd written it a few semitones lower at that point. I put on my headphones and heard the engineer say, "Rolling!" With a 3-4 count-in from Ruggero, I began to play the arpeggios in the key of A. It seemed to go well. I played without a mistake, though my voice still sounded strained. Ruggero was, however, smiling broadly at me throughout, and as I finished the song, the violinists and cellists tapped their bows on their music stands. I saw Peter striding downstairs from the control room to greet me. "John!" he cried, grabbing my hand and hugging me. "Gorgeous! Simply gorgeous!" His Gauloise wafted around the room as we chatted about my trip, and I gushed about the hotel. Peter made a dismissive gesture, grabbed my shoulders with surprisingly strong hands and said, "You are a star, my darling. Stars stay at the best hotels."